Hey Watch Fam, I hope you're all really well. I'm just trying to understand whether I've got too much lighting in the room or not. I've just opened the curtains up, so I'm just going to crack on with the video anyway. So I hope you're all really well. What is it now? Coming up to the end of May, 23rd of May, almost in June, 6th month of the year. I mean, it is literally flying by. What am I wearing today? Well guys, needs no introduction really. I think if any of you have been following my channel the last few weeks, certainly you'll know that I'm definitely in Panerai mode. So I'm still wearing the Pan. I've recently changed the strap on it. I ordered it online and I'm really happy. I got this sort of grey strap, dark grey with blue blotching on it. And it's also got stitching, same colour as the hour markers. So I'm rocking the Panerai 1033 GMT. And I'm trying this new little concept here where I've got my camera connected to my phone, where I can change where the focus goes on a camera. Because sometimes I've noticed that when I do the wristwatch check, doesn't really focus on the watch, but I really wanted to show it. I mean, I'm loving this watch. Back to my face, there we go. So what's been happening as a general, well, what's been happening in general? Nothing much. I've been obviously scouring the internet, looking at watches. As with all watchaholics, it still continues. Nothing's changed from that perspective. Some of you know I've been looking at a chrono. Actually, I popped down to a shop yesterday to look at a Panerai 233. I really like that watch. I'm just thinking, and a good friend of mine advised me. He said, look, just enjoy your Panerai for now. You'll get a Panerai 233 sometime. But if you get two Panerais at the same time, you probably just won't enjoy either of them as much as if you just had one of them, which makes perfect sense. Anyway, what did I want to do, sort of go over in this video? Well, this is again, it's a Q&A video, and even though they don't get as many views as my typical videos about Rolex and what's happening in the Rolex world and Rolex prediction or Rolex release or Rolex review or Rolex, I enjoy these videos more. I feel that it's more interactive. I feel that I'm covering topics which are of interest to people, you know, of interest to my subscribers. Even though I don't have that many, I feel I quite enjoy talking to you guys, and you know, it's cathartic for me. I'm able to talk to some people about watches, and I get some feedback in the comment section, and it's just nice. I mean, I've got a few friends. Well, actually, I've just got one or two friends that are kind of into watches, and the rest are just having the foggiest of what is happening. I mean, if I tell them about the grey market, they're like, "What's the grey market? How does it work? What do you mean? You can't buy a watch from an authorized dealer? A Rolex? What? Why not?" And then they think that you're like some sort of black market Rolex trader. We're not selling tusks here, guys. We're just trying to get watches and enjoy them. Anyway, so this video is going to be the next part of obviously looking at or answering some of your Q&As. I'm going to now look at some questions. I'm just trying to log on to my Wi-Fi here because for some reason it disconnected. Anyway, we'll just crack on with it. I've got a great question from Tay1, and his question is, Michael, what do you think of birth year watches? Would you purchase one yourself as a gift or for a newborn? I don't think the newborn will be wearing any watches, although I do keep pushing watches onto my little ones. Take a snapshot here. You know, someone walks into the room, they're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, just taking pictures of the 1-year-old wearing a Panerai. Perfectly normal, right? I like birth year watches. The first time I was introduced to the idea of a birth year watch was in 2012 when I had just started at a particular company, and I was working with this lady on a particular project, and I said to her, "That's a nice Datejust, vintage Datejust." And she said to me, "Oh, thanks. It's a birthday watch. I bought it for myself recently, from whatever year she was. I forget now." And I had never ever thought about that concept before she said, "Oh, thank you. It's my birthday watch." And I thought that's fantastic. I mean, to wear a timepiece which is the same age as you, not just the same age as you, it was produced the same year that you were born, I think it's really special. Obviously this question's kind of got two branches. Would you purchase one for yourself or for a gift or someone else? I recently took or received a Pepsi GMT, a Rolex Pepsi GMT, brand new in stickers. And it's actually a 2019 Pepsi GMT, brand new in stickers. I paid a small premium for it, but it's a 2019, which is the year my little one was born. And I like that. I like that about it. So part of the drive behind getting that particular Pepsi, or it being offered to me, was that it was a 2019. That kind of resonated with me, and it kind of pushed me into getting it. I thought, well, you know, end of the day, I mean, this is the watch person, right? No, I don't need the watch. Oh, what year is it? Yeah, let me just try and find, oh yeah, my great aunt was born that year, I'll buy it. I mean, we can all shoehorn stuff into our lives and justify it, because we actually do as watch people, and there's no getting away from that. But I think on this particular watch, I liked where it was coming from. I liked the person who it was coming from, and the year of the watch kind of was the cherry on top. It was 2019. I thought, that's nice. I like that. I'll add it, and it will just sit there. I'm not going to go into the Pepsi and what I think of it, because that's not part of today's topic. But that's kind of like, it's not for me, but it's kind of it's not really for a newborn. Is it for my little one? I don't know. Is it for me? I don't know, because it's not my year of birth. So I liked the idea. I actually looked at getting a birth year watch for myself, but it was a 5513. A 5513 would not have lasted well with me, let's say. Not that I treat my watches harshly, but I can be a little bit careless, flapping around, or going places, swimming. I swim a lot. I go to the sea a lot. A 5513 with its seals, and check this, and those watches fall into a category where it's like a classic car suddenly needs a little bit more maintenance than the newer version. It just becomes painful and probably a little bit too small for me. But the 5513 is beautiful. I like it a lot. I'm not a massive fan of the 2-line text. I prefer the 4-line text on the 14060. But anyway, so that's my answer on that particular question. So a really good question. I've got quite a few questions, and I think I'm going to have to split this into two different videos. Let me see how much time I have. I'm going to split this into 2 different videos. Let me see, time-wise. Still not too bad. The next question is, how often do you rotate wearing your watch collection? Do you feel that we are not bonding with the watch if we don't wear it daily for a long time? And that question is by D for Delta. I go through phases. I used to rotate, but it actually got really annoying. It got to the point where I was waking up in the morning, and instead of planning my daily tasks of what I was going to be doing for the day, well, I was planning my daily tasks. Some of that was, well, which watch am I going to wear? And it was just getting in my head. And I just thought, you know what, this is a little bit unhealthy. I wore this watch that week. I wore this watch a few days ago. Shall I wear this watch? I was a little bit, it just got a bit too much. You'd be brushing your teeth and you're thinking, well, which watch shall I wear? So it's still a topic on my mind at like 7 a.m. It just got a little bit, it just didn't need to be there. So in terms of that question, I do feel that you're right in one thing. You're not maybe bonding with that watch. I think actually what we all have is we have some categories of watches. We have the main ones, like the main two that we love. And then we've got branches of all others that we could live without, but we really like those watches and we need to have them in our collection for whatever reason, ego, whatever it might be. So I think those particular ones on certain days, yeah, it's nice to enjoy, but I think if you were going to go to your brother's wedding, your sister's wedding, your best mate's wedding, and you've got 5, 10 watches in front of you on your table, are you going to wear the ones which really mean a lot to you, or your favourite watches, or are you going to wear the one that you bought on a whim and you're probably not going to keep? Because sometime down the line you're going to think, oh, I was at my brother's wedding and I was wearing this watch, and you'll be telling him a story in 10 years and say, oh, this is my favourite watch. Yeah, it was there whilst I was doing a best man speech or whatever. So there are loads of ways to break down, you know, your daily wearer and rotation. How do you choose a rotation? That's probably how I would do it. Everyone's got different ways of thinking, different ways of digesting information, and most importantly, different ways of justifying things, right? That's all we ever do, is just justify the latest purchase, justify the latest acquisition, the latest purchase of a car, whatever. We don't really need it, but we just want it, right? So great question there. The next question, which, to be honest, I think was question of the week in terms of, you know, made me a little bit stumped in terms of responding. I really, you know, I had to think about it, and still, after a few days, I don't really know. But the question came from a chap called Joe Bentley, and he said, what advice would you give to someone in their early 20s who is looking to build a collection? With ADs being how they are, is trying to build a relationship even worth it? Cheers. And he said, the big thing I'm struggling with is cost, with playing the game with the ADs, with pieces you don't want to get, just to get the ones that you do want to get, versus inflated aftermarket costs. You know, a bit of a puzzle, the second part, but what I'm saying is he doesn't really want to be buying the watches he doesn't want just because he wants to get the watch he does want. You know, the guy's in his 20s. Where do you start? How do you get onto the Rolex ladder? Property ladder, Rolex ladder. There's a Rolex ladder now. Would you believe it? I mean, how do you get onto the Rolex ladder? What a load of bullshit that is. I'd hold strong. I know people who have managed to build relationships with ADs. ADs are most scared of flippers. It puts their job into question if Rolex find out that you sold to a flipper. I've known people who, or ADs who've got into trouble if they've left stickers on. I know ADs who have told me that, listen, there are people working in the ADs or in the groups where we sell watches who go on eBay, they look at serial codes, they look at serial numbers of watches, and they cross-reference it with who bought it, when they bought it, to see if they're even eligible to sell it. If they're not, you know, if it's under a year of ownership, then they get blacklisted. I mean, there are some checks being made, hardcore. You know, you talk about border force, well, talk about the Rolex force, you know, ownership. It's like Rolex are keeping it for the next generation, not you know, taking Patek Philippe's logo, or slogan. Now, where am I going with this? I'd hold strong. What I would encourage people to do is to look at the pre-ceramic stuff. You know, if you're going to get on the Rolex ladder and you're priced out of it, or you're listed out of it because you can't get on a wish list because you're not going to get it, look at some of the 140/60s. Look at some of the 16610s out there. Look at some of the watches from the 90s, the early 2000s. Go to, you know, watch shops or Chrono24. Try to get your hands on those watches. That's what I would do. I don't have a problem with those watches. I like them a lot. When I started with watches, I judged the pre-ceramic stuff without even ever wearing it. I seriously did. You know, a lot of the times I was on Rolex forums, people saying a rattly bracelet, this, that, and the other. Anyway, one day I bought a 2008 Explorer 2, changed my perception of pre-ceramic watches. Try the pre-ceramic stuff. That's what I would say. And don't be afraid to buy it. Enjoy it. It's a Rolex. You know, it's like buying a Ferrari. You're telling me if you buy a Ferrari F40, you're not going to be proud of it on the street? Tell you what, Ferrari F40 is fantastic. You know, then you've got the F50. All the new Ferraris now, I look at them on the street. I mean, maybe I'm in Dubai. I'm totally desensitized to supercars, but desensitized. Give me a nice family SUV any day of the week. Comfortable, big, spacious, love it. Big engine, perfect. But that's what I would do. I would try to build a relationship with an AD, try to get them to understand, listen, you know, this is the problem I'm facing. I really want one of these watches. I'm not a flipper. This is the one I want. I don't want others. I don't want the Pepsi, or I don't want the Batgirl. I want this particular one. Because obviously, eyebrows will be raised if you say you want a Pepsi or a Daytona. It's going to be like, yeah, okay, mate. You go in there, I think, and try and say, look, this is the problem I face. I know it's like this. I'm a genuine person. Try and show them your profile as a person, not just Joe Bloggs walked in off the street, can I have a no date? Because the no date is the most innocent thing to ask, can I have a no date or an Explorer 1? Just say, look, I understand how it is. I've been, you know, working my ass off at work. I know everyone's scared of flippers. Flippers are ruining the market. How do I get one of these things? I mean, is there anything I can do? Is there anything I can get you to trust me about? I try those. I think there are people, the ADs out there who are open to that, and they will understand where you're coming from. But I'd also look at the not the pre-owned market, I'd look at the pre-ceramic stuff. I think it's a fantastic way of getting onto the Rolex ladder. And you protect yourself against inflation. You have a Rolex, might not be the latest blingy one, but there will be some point in the future where you're going to sell it, or there's going to be an opportunity to part exchange it for something, part exchange it for a newer one, and that opportunity will present itself. I think that's how I'd go about that, Joe. I think it's a fantastic question. In your 20s, how do you get on the Rolex ladder? I hope I've managed to sort of answer a few angles from which I would attack that goal of mine, or that target of mine to get onto the Rolex ladder. But anyway, guys, I mean, listen, I hope I haven't overran with things today. I think I've done enough in terms of, you know, the 3 questions. What I'm going to do is I'm going to populate another list of questions and hopefully do another video later this week. I'd probably do a little bit more on this one, but to be honest, I've been ill last few days and my brain is a little bit fuzzy. My throat's a little bit so to be honest, I haven't got the clearest thinking right now. I've only just gauged this after this video. I'm thinking, what am I talking about? But anyway, guys, listen, let's keep the comment section nice, interactive, positive. As always, I try and answer what I can when I can. And I look forward to receiving some more questions. I probably will do 3 or 4 questions in each video. That way, it's every answer's good enough, because I could probably do 10, 15 questions, but I don't really want to do 1-minute answers. Unless they're just questions about general things which can be answered really quickly. So thanks, guys. Look forward to the next video. All the best. Bye.